So I guess now I'll finish up with Guardians of the Galaxy. Zach, you weren't here last episode when I talked about my first initial impressions. Did you watch any of the recap on that?
I didn't, but I did want to ask you a question, Alex. How long did you actually take you to run through a game?
Probably about 20 hours.
20 hours?
20 to 30 range is my guess.
Cool. Because it took me about 19.
Oh, wait, you played Guardians?
Yeah, I completely beat it.
Oh, I didn't even know you got it.
Yep.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, what did you think of the game?
I mean, overall, it was very enjoyable. I mean, I enjoyed the whole aspect of the crew constantly talking and bickering each other pretty much during everything. I mean, for some people, I could see it be annoying, but it really added to the atmosphere of the game just in any situation.
It did, yeah. Yeah,
and I very much enjoyed the little bonus thing of just whenever you would go searching for stuff in the little areas, all of them would be like, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
That's not the right way."
Yeah, I love that. That's one thing that I pointed out last week where I was like, I love how Rocket will just be like, oh, what is he doing now? Is he about to call us over here? Guys, come over here and look at this. It's so cool.
Or like whenever you're with Nikki in that chapter where you're handcuffed, she's like, "Show me some respect." Yeah, hold on, I'm gonna go this way. Are you literally walking away from me?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you picked it up. What'd you play it on?
Hard.
Okay. What console?
Xbox One.
Xbox One. Got it.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it overall. I mean, the combat was very fun. The boss fights were lackluster.
Boss fights were lackluster and very few, in my opinion.
I mean, I'm sort of, with how the boss fights turn out, I'm okay with how few boss fights there are, because the general combat was a lot more entertaining.
Right. Combat was actually one of my negatives, where it's not really a negative, it's kind of like, it's not like a hard, like, oh, this fucking blows, but it's one of, if I had to pick a negative, combat would be one of them, because the combat is fun. The combat is very fun. It is very enjoyable, but I feel like it got too repetitive over time. Like, even though you're unlocking all these different abilities for your Guardians, you're doing the same thing over and over again instead of having like a wide range of different things to do across the board. Like, I feel like it got very repetitive, in my opinion.
Well, to me, I don't ever felt like that but how my brain looked at the game whenever I started choosing skills and whatnot was my brain went, what's my best combinations of here? So it became a thing of how quickly can I clear a room with which set of skills? So I more or less made it a challenge of myself of if I use this rotation of skills, how quick is that versus using this rotation of skills?
Right. Which that adds to it, and I would do the same thing. I definitely found my sets that I liked. I personally, I went through every single one of like I would always start with Groot. Were you the same way?
No.
Groot was always my start because I would usually lock them down or shoot them up. Then I'd obviously just save the large grapple for large enemies. But I like locking them down and then immediately having Rocket just fucking bomb them, and I would pretty much wipe out a large group of people.
See, my go-tos was either, depending on where the enemy setup was, it was either Rocket Grav Grenade into either Drax Smash or Groot Uproot, or Drax charging into a Gamora multi-slash.
Okay. Like I said, when it comes to the gameplay, it was fun. But if I was literally forced to pick a negative, that would be my only negative. Just because I feel like there could have been done more to add more to Star-Lord was my biggest beef. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The element stuff is cool. I'm also a big fan of elements. But for you playing as Star-Lord, I feel like there could have been something more for you. Even with the abilities that you got, they weren't bad. I mean, I enjoyed them. But I just feel like playing as just Star-Lord, I'm not saying I need to play as everyone. I think the direction of this game, playing as one character, being the captain of the squad here, I think was the best direction for this game. I think this game would have been a hot fucking mess if you played as everyone. I really do.
Yeah.
I just feel like if there was something a little bit more to Star-Lord, the gameplay would have been a lot better. But the gameplay was very good. Like, if I had to rate just the gameplay, it'd probably be a 7 or 8 out of 10. Like, I mean, it was good, but it was probably my only negative. So it being a 7 or 8 out of 10 and being my only negative that I have to pick, in my opinion, is pretty good for the game. In my opinion.
I mean, personally, for me, I felt what you had for Star-Lord was actually pretty fine, especially for the setting itself, because it very much establishes that Peter may be the captain, but he's also the weakest of the crew.
Yep.
Especially like at the very beginning in chapters 2, when when they're going through all the addendums that Rocket left, and it gets to him, it's just like, Quill, Peter Quill, Star-Lord. That's it?
That's all you wrote? There was a character limitation.
Character deletion. And I mean, honestly, for people who feel like Star-Lord could have been a little less, if you actually look in the settings, you can do custom settings to cause Star-Lord to do more damage and things like that if you want to feel stronger as Star-Lord.
Which I thought was really cool. Did you really dive into that, like the custom difficulty for the game? Like, I thought that was I didn't use it. I just played on a set difficulty, but I thought that was a really awesome feature.
I messed with it a little, but I didn't alter it too much just because I was messing with on the harder difficulty, so.
Gotcha. But as a whole, like in terms of the story, I thought the story was absolutely phenomenal. You know, because I feel like one problem that some people are kind of facing with these Marvel games is they just look at how unbelievably amazing Spider-Man was, and they just expect like these open world games for these Marvel games. And I don't think, you know, in terms of Guardians, I don't think that's necessary at all. Now, I do think one thing that would have been a nice touch, and I guess it's because of how much I really get a lot of Mass Effect vibes from Guardians. I think it would have been cool if you could like actually choose on like a map where you go, kind of like Mass Effect, you know? But I think in terms of the gameplay, being in these single confined areas, doing your mission, similar to Mass Effect, I thought was fine. I had no problem with it because of how great the story was and how great the character interactions were. Do you kind of feel the same way or no?
No, I feel like it was fine as it is, because I feel like if it was sort of a free form of being able to choose what planet you go to, I feel like it would have been a lot more disconnect, especially with the story they were telling.
Fair.
Because if
then you really would have got, Quill, where are you going?
Yes, because if they allowed that, it would have been a lot bigger disconnect, because they were trying to tell a very linear story, which was nice, which made more sense, especially like when you're ever deciding what you need to do for money, like before you go and see Lady Hellbender and the stuff we've all seen, and you have the whole thing of listen to Gamora, Groot, or Drax. Because me personally, I wanted to go fight Fin Fang Foom at the very beginning. I was just like, all right, Drax, let's go do this. It's like, go fight Fin Fang Foom to our death. I'm like, no. I was like, oh.
Oh, man, they shut you down.
I was like, okay, I see where we're going with this. It's going to be linear. All right, where are we going?
It would have been nice to have that sort of branching storylines, you know.
Yeah.
And they do have a little bit of branching, you know, but it's not as much as like something like a Mass Effect where it really does branch off based on, you know, some major decisions. But there are a lot of decisions throughout this game that does impact you later on and stuff.
Yeah, which allows you access to different things here and there, depending on whether stuff has happened or not.
Which, of course, I love that shit. I love being able to make those different choices.
Yeah, because there's small choices, but because of it, different things happen later in the game. Especially for like the last chapter, the final space battle determines on what people show up when.
Yep.
And can either make very long sections or completely clear sections for you.
Which I got to say, that space battle was so epic to me. It really was. Like, you know, the flying through space, whatever, actually getting to fly through space and do the battle there, I thought was fucking clean. I really did. Yeah. I enjoyed that. And I enjoyed it so much where I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, man, it would have been so cool to like fly the Normandy going to Earth at the end of 3. That would have been so cool. I started thinking, I've never had that thought before, because like that scene of all the fleets coming in at 3 was already cool enough and gave me massive goosebumps. But playing Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm like, man, that would have been so cool in Mass Effect 3. But I mean, I feel like the game did really well with its linear story. I do. I love the story. I mean, you know, if I feel like it, I'll plug a clip right here from AniMan Plus Ep 50. Shocker, I cried.
Guess what? Shocker, right? I cried.
You know, it's some of the different aspects of the game in terms of the storytelling. But, yeah, I mean, in this game, dude, it draws so much emotion out of you because of the characters and how well these characters are portrayed. And it's such a shame that this game had the start that it had back in the summer, where it's just like everyone absolutely hated this game. Now they get it and they're like, oh shit, okay, hold on, this is actually a pretty dope game. No, seriously, give this game a shot. It is a phenomenal game.
I mean, and I agree with that. It was a very good game so far out of the Marvel games that have been released this year. This one definitely over Avengers is sort of funny, and they take a shot at Avengers in the middle of Guardians.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I forgot to bring that up last week when I talked about it. I do like how they plugged Avengers in two different ways, because one was when they were like flying through like that dimension thing. You hear Hulk yell like Hulk smash, and then you hear Captain America from Marvel's and say Avengers assemble. And then later on, when they were trying to figure out who to help them, someone mentioned, what about the guys in the back on anyone back on Earth? And I think it was Peter, which is like what the guys in the pajamas, whatever. Just like, trust me, guys, Earth has not caught up to everyone else yet. So I did enjoy that. I enjoyed those little references. Did you? I don't know if you mess with this in games at all, but did you try the photo mode at all?
No.
Photo mode is phenomenal in this game. It is so cool, man, because you choose different like comic covers as like your surrounding background that has like everyone's names from different comic issues that they've had released. So at towards the end of the game, where your Lady Hellbender throws you your walker, and you go up and catch and has that epic shot with like the explosion in the background and Fin Fang Foom there. I took a picture of that and I made it into a cover album. It's phenomenal. Photo mode is great. But overall, this is a game that I 100% recommend. I think it's worth Game of the Year nomination. I really do. I mean, it is a phenomenal game. It's at the very least for best storytelling. I will say the ending kind of caught me off guard a little bit, because for once I actually did not look up any spoilers, right? Believe it or not. So the ending did catch me off guard, because I thought it was setting up for a 2. The little tease you got with a certain character, with his eyes. I thought that was just a 2 setup. They're rolling the credits and everything. I'm like, all right, into the game. We're setting up for 2. Cool. And all of a sudden something happens, like chapter 16. I'm like, wait, what?
And it's just one nice little boss fight at the end.
Yeah. So that did kind of catch me off guard, which is nice. It's like, it's like I think what you mentioned Friday when we chat about it a little bit, very fitting for Guardians.
Yeah,
but I'm very excited for Guardians 2. I think Guardians 2 is going to be awesome, as long as they don't take any steps backwards. Which I don't think they would. I think they did really well on this. I really do. If I had to give it a rating, my original rating was like an 8.5 is what I gave it last week for my first like initial impressions about probably 10 hours played. Now completing the game, I would legit give it probably a 9 out of 10. I think it's a 9 out of 10 in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I would probably agree with that mostly. I mean, honestly, overall, it's a very good game. I guess, if you said the weakest point might be to be the combat, because there isn't much variety unless you make it yourself. So,
and the thing is, saying that is the weakest point is not even an insult, because it's not like it's bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like what you just said. It lacks some variety. That's the only thing. Other than that, I mean, it's not bad. But if you have to pick something negative, that would be my one negative. Everything else, I wouldn't say it's a negative at all. I think the game is fantastic. I doubt it, but if it goes on sale on Black Friday for like $40, you got to pick it up. I doubt it will, but I mean, if it does, that's worth it. I bought the Cosmic Deluxe Edition for $80, and I think that was totally worth it. I think that's a clean steelbook and a clean box that I have in there. I love that thing. But I think that's it for the show. Final Guardians review.
Cosmo?
Love Cosmo. He is a good boy. It's like, oh, Cosmo, you're such a good boy. No, Cosmo, the best boy.
Best boy.
Oh, I fucking love Cosmo.